What's going on, guys? It's Darth. We're back in Queensblade Limit Break, and we are looking at a little hottie, a little mermaid. She's not a mermaid, is she? We're looking at a ultra rare. That's right, ultra rare Ultimate Warrior, the first one to be released. Actually, I don't think that's actually true. I think what happened is it was time for them to release another Ultimate Warrior. They just decided to make this one ultra rare and go all in, right? So, we're going to do an overview. I do not have this warrior. I've only been able to test her out in the trial because it's her first run. And I have been testing out a few things, so I do have an idea of how her skills work, but no idea about some of the real-world applications of what's going on. But I've played the game long enough to know that I can actually predict a little bit of what's going on here. It's not rocket science. So, the question is she worth pulling for? As a new warrior, you're going to see her out quite a bit when it comes to the ultimate summoning. Ultra rare. Is the ultra rare aspect of her going to make her worth more than any of the other ultimate warriors? What does she do? How does she do it? Well, let's get into it. She looks amazing. Another water-based type of aura around her. She looks really cool. I really do like her. Her spicy pose does take the cake. That is one of the luckiest octopi I have. Again, why is it always octopuses that with the little 8 legs or 8 hands, arms, that are always the luckiest sons of bees in the world? Alright, look, fixed damage. She's a tank. This is the only tank designation Ultimate Warrior that has been released. Fixed damage, revive, self-guard. She gets on her passive 50% increase to HP, 30% increase to defense, which even on an Ultimate Warrior doesn't really mean a whole lot because of breach and a lot of the defense-ignoring warriors that they are releasing. Great job, G123. Why not just reduce the effectiveness of defense? I digress. Damage resist 15%. Because of how they're treating defense and have been treating defense for a while, damage resist is better than defense. Okay? And actually, damage resist, depending upon the percentage to ratio of defense added. Keep in mind, any defense increase at 30% is only based on the primary stats of a 12-star warrior. So if she has 3,282 defense, if she gets a 30% increase, that it's only based on that 3,282% anyways. So any defense increase is based on the primary attributes, so it's not a lot. Damage resist overall is better because it reduces damage taken overall from direct attacks unless otherwise stated. When affected by a reduction effect on own current HP, there's a 60% chance to return to the HP before the decrease. This is going to make a little more sense because there's not a lot of applications for this. I want to say this has to do with her kit. We're going to get to that in a second. But I want to say this also has more to do with the, defense reduction, HP reduction of the dual attribute. They actually specialize in reducing your max HP. Well, this one doesn't say anything about max HP. It says current HP. So, I would like to test her out against a dual attribute warrior, but I'm 100% positive that reduction in HP when it happens is permanent, can't be avoided, and this is not subject to it. So, it only applies to what you're about to see on her kit. Turn 1 ability 2 turn cooldown, shell protection. She deals 100% of attack as physical damage to all enemies. Okay, whatever. Physical attribute damage. Physical, not attribute damage, but physical damage. And grants shell's protection on all allies for 2 turns. Reduces all physical, magic, fixed, and continuous damage taken by 30%. And nullifies 1 fatal damage. So there's a lot going on here. She's doing crap damage, but granting shell's protection, which reduces all damage by 30% basically. Most damage, we'll say. Physical, magical are direct attacks. Fixed damage is fixed damage. If it says like a HP burn is actually fixed damage, but it's also considered continuous damage, in my opinion, because a burn damage does X anyways. It generally isn't reduced until they introduced continuous damage resistances, which is actually now in the stat page down here. You'll start to see continuous damage, fixed, and continuous damage reduction. So I want to say that it's subject to the damage reduction but I'm not 100% certain on that because they haven't clarified. So she's giving you a pretty hefty damage reduction bonus against a lot of damage you're going to encounter, and she's going to nullify 1 fatal damage on your allies on a 2-turn cooldown. Okay? And it triggers on turn 1. Now, don't get too excited about that, because nullifying 1 fatal damage, when you're down, let's say you only have 1 HP left, you're still going to have 1 HP left. You still have to figure out how to survive. But she's granting you Shell's protection, right? Yeah, it's not all she does. On her turn 2 ability, she grants a shield by consuming 40% of the current HP of all allies. Okay, she's taking 40% of all allies' HP and granting a shield to you. Now, the shield lasts 2 times the consumed HP, so 40% of all allies' HP, basically doubling that as a shield. That's actually pretty insane when you think about it, if that's really the way it works. During the shield effect, attack plus 20%, awesome, and immobilization resist plus 50%, super awesome. The shield lasts for 2 turns, cannot be removed. Super, super duper awesome. This skill ignores immobilization effects. So it's going to go off whether she's immobilized or not. Okay, keep in mind, this is an active skill. She has to actually trigger it. So if you were, under normal circumstances, if you were immobilized, she couldn't trigger the shield and save your asses for a few turns. So it ignores immobilization effect. Super duper awesome skill. I like this. I would love to be able to play around with this ability of consuming 40% of all allies' HP and then lasting, basically giving you a double 80% of the consumed HP shield, if I'm reading that right, which I think I am. Now, in the trial, you can't really test the potency of that because HP is defined for pretty much everybody in one way or the other when you're doing the trial. There are some things that are active, like, but we won't talk about it. The shield lasts for 2 turns, can't be removed. All right, cool. I like that. On her passive ability for each beautiful warrior defeated, deals fixed damage equal to 10% of all max HP. Okay. Doesn't trigger until a beautiful warrior is defeated, but there you go. If she is unable to fight, revives with full HP after 1 turn. Inflicts fixed damage equal to 10% of all max HP to enemies upon revival, and has a 50% chance to stun for 1 turn. I like the stun. People still use it on their artifact gear. Still not a fan of it, although I do use it. Every time she revives, the number of turns required to revive increases by 1. So at first I was like, okay, so she's immortal. No, you cannot just put her in there by herself and she'll just keep reviving. That's not how this works. When basically when she's unable to fight and she gets defeated, she'll resurrect with full HP after 1 turn. The problem is I was trying to test this, and I put her in there by herself, figured out she doesn't resurrect on her own. You have to have somebody else on the team that's alive. The battle cannot end, guys. You have to have somebody else that's alive on the team for her to revive. So she's not immortal. So don't get too excited about that immortal ability, because that's what I thought when I first read this ability. I was like, what the hell? I thought this is P. Claudette on max potency steroids, right? No, that's not how it works. And you have to wait a turn for her to revive, and then when she revives again, you have to wait 2 turns, and so forth. Now, chances are she won't have to revive that many times in a battle, and shouldn't if you're on par. But anyways, it's actually a really cool and unique ability. I do like it. Now, her ultimate attribute damage. Every time she takes damage equal to 5% of her maximum HP, she's going to deal ultimate damage equal to 5% of her maximum HP to 2 random enemies. Every time she takes damage equal to 5% of her maximum HP. This is an interesting ability. If you're going to build her with max damage resist and things like that, it might be very difficult to hit her with 5% of her maximum HP. The good news is I think that triggers despite having a shield. So you're not taking damage to your health when a shield is up unless the shield is broken. But the way the game works is if you take 5% of your maximum HP, it applies that damage to the shield. You're still taking the damage. So this actually kicks in. Now, whether or not it's easy to inflict 5% of her maximum HP with the shield going on is, and any damage reduction that you guys may actually have, keep in mind Shell's protection does not apply to her. Shell's protection applies to allies. When I was testing her out, Shell's protection did not apply to her. So you're going to need to stack damage resistance on her from rune skills and jewels and things like that, but because defense is being ignored quite often. But the fact that she grants a shield that increases allies' attack and her own attack and gives you 50% immobilization resist, the skill ignores immobilization effects. So let's say the enemy excels at immobilizing you. She's still going to trigger this massive shield on you. It's just that great. Now imagine pairing her shield effects with someone like from the dual attribute, which a lot of people love this warrior, and I haven't leveled it up fully yet, but I need to. Because, whoa, where's the abilities? For some reason, my abilities are not coming up here. This warrior has the ability to increase shield potencies on by 30%. And I think that actually works on shields applied by other warriors within this particular group. So, all in all, I would say that if you were to pull for her, you couldn't go wrong. However, here it is in my opinion. Here's the raw stats. One of the best people that you can actually pull for when it comes to this is still Ultimate Tomo. And then Ruella. Then I think you'd be actually good going with the Ocean Princess here. However, Foremost Fashionista is a great DPS, but I still think she gets eclipsed by Tomo. Volko, great warrior, and a lot of people use her. I have her. I have Vesper. I still don't think that those two do not perform as anticipated and expected once I got them. I'll explain that in subsequent videos. So in order, Tomo, Ruella, Ocean Princess, Volko, Vesper. But if you're running an all ultimate team, take all 5 of those. However, if you're looking for more damage, because generally a lot of these warriors excel at resisting damages anyways, despite what a lot of people may think, and they resist immobilization effects quite well, you can actually decide to go with Foremost Fashionista. The Foremost Fashionista does a lot of damage. She's very deadly. The problem is getting her is now more, it's just way more difficult to get her because she doesn't appear in excuse me, the arrivals very often. And I have a feeling she's going to appear in the marketplace. If you got jewels, she's going to be the next one to appear in the marketplace with Vesper and Moonlit Attendant and Tyranny of Night. That's just my personal opinion. I really do like her. I like her abilities. Her ability, the game has been really laggy, but the video's done anyways. What do you guys think of the new Ultimate Warrior, the Ultra Rare Warrior? Looks great. Her kit is actually really solid. They did a great job, especially given the fact that she's a tank. She's not going to do any massive amounts of damage, but that's not what she's there for. She's there to increase your attack, immobilization, deal fixed damage, ultra rare damage, and protect the allies. I mean, she's got a lot of items that other tanks do in the game from other attributes all wrapped into one, and she does them really, really well. The skill tank is here. P. Claudette is here. She's got her own revive, so unlike Bloom, she doesn't give your allies the ability to revive, which would have been really cool. But all in all, she's great. And in the order that I described, she actually falls under number 3 in a high importance to obtain for Ultra Rare Warriors. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.